So today we are going to start our new chapter, that is software analysis and design tools. We have already discussed about software designing phase. What was that? In software designing phase, we were just transforming the requirement analysis, that is whatever requirements we have, to the implementation form. That is, we were having some requirements which were in human readable form. That is, human were giving us some requirements in the readable form that can be easily understood by human beings. Okay, but what we were doing, we were just transforming those readable forms to our actual coding, that is the implementation coding phase. Okay, so this transformation is done in our designing phase. We have already discussed that in our previous classes. Now today what we will do, we will discuss about different tools of this designing. When we are going to do something, we have to have some tools. Okay, so these tools which we are going to use now in the designing phase, we are going to discuss those tools one by one. So in today's class, the first tool which we are going to discuss is the DFD, that is data flow diagram. Okay, DFD means DFD, that is data flow diagram. Okay, so what is data flow diagram? As the name already suggests, that in data flow diagram, what we do generally, we have three things which we are going to study in this data flow diagram. We store in the data flow diagram, that is the input data, the output data, and the storage data. Okay, storage means whatever data is going to be stored in a particular system, and the input and output data. Okay, obviously those things. And what is going to be there? Whatever data is going to flow inside a particular system, that is in our DFD. That the whole information is being stored in this DFD pictures. This is a pictorial representation, that is graphical representation, or you can say pictorial representation of the flow of data in a particular system. Now what we will see here, we have one thing also, that is our flowchart. Now what is the difference between this flowchart and DFD? Flowchart is also showing us the flow of data, but what happens there? See, in flowchart, what happens? The flow of control in program module is being shown. In flowchart, what we show is the flow of the control, how the control is being flowing. That thing we show in our flowchart. But in DFD, what happens? DFD only shows the data in the system by various levels. When you are going to create a DFD, data flow diagram, for a particular system, suppose I have already shown here one, we will discuss it afterwards. But when you are going to start a DFD, then you have to see there are many levels of the DFD. Level 0, level 1, level 2, like this. So you have to see there that how much you are going to establish that one, how much you are going to describe that one. Level by level, first when you are starting the DFD, you are having a basic DFD. That is the basic concept, what is going to be in your particular system. Then what will happen? Again to the level 1, you are going to insert some data, some special data, that is, it will be describing your DFD more accurately. Okay, then in level 2, again you can make it more descriptive. So in level 1, 2, 3, that's a hierarchical process where you are going to make your DFD in such a process. Like see, here I have done a DFD that is of level 0 and level 1. So you can see in a level 1 picture, you can see that the DFD is very little data is there. But in this little data, the whole system you are going to describe, but in a very basic way, not in a very detailed way. A simple step, that this is my DFD, this is going to be my system, the whole process, this is the input, this is the output, and this is the stored data or the process which is going to be in my DFD. But here you are not going to give a whole description. Then again when you are going for the level 1, then at that time you are going to give some more description about your DFD. You are going to break that DFD into some subsystems. You are going to give some more details about your DFD. Again in the second level, you are going to describe, make a more detailed DFD. Okay, so like this we are performing the DFD in a hierarchical procedure. Okay, now So this is the difference. What is the difference in between flowchart and DFD? Flowchart, we are just showing the flow of our control, but DFD, we are going to show the whole data flow. Okay, here no control or controlling that how the control is going. This kind of thing is not shown. Only the data, how the data is flowing. Okay, now what are the types of DFD? There are two types, generally two types of DFD. One is logical DFD and second one is physical DFD. Okay, so what is logical DFD? Concentrates on the system process and flow of data in the system. It only basically it shows you how the flow of the data is going on. It just concentrates on the system process. What are the processes which we are going to see in this, in your particular system? What is the process? There are different processes included in our system. That processes we are going to concentrate on, and the data flow in the system. Okay, this thing is going to be in your logical DFD, but in physical DFD shows how the data flow is actually implemented in the system. That is, here we will show how the data is flowing. Here what in logical, what only the logic, that is my system, this is my system, this is my data, this is going to flow. How the data is flowing, how the processes are there, how the function is going on, that's all. Okay, but in physical DFD we will show how the data is going to flow. The data is going to flow, input, output, storage, okay, logical data. But here in physical DFD, you will show how this implementation is going on. The whole process has been shown in physical DFD. So this is the difference between your logical DFD and your physical DFD. Okay, now here some components are there. As I have already told you that DFD is a pictorial form, a graphical form. So whenever we are going to talk about a pictorial or graphical form, obviously some symbols are there. We have to use those symbols to show our DFD. Now in DFD there are some certain symbols which we are going to study, that we will be using when we are going to make a particular DFD. Okay, now let's see the symbols. First one is this one, that is a rectangular shape, only a rectangle. This is external entity. Now what is entity? As I have already discussed with you, that is the sources and destination here. Okay, that is entity, source and destination. Why? Since here you can see this is my passenger, this is the entity in this case. This is a railway reservation system. So in case passenger is my entity. So what is happening here? You can see that some arrows are going towards this. This is the process. Okay, railway reservation. So some arrows are going there. Some are going as output, and some are coming as input. So what happens here? Source and destination for my particular DFD. This source and destination will be an entity. Okay. So these are mainly the source and destination. Entities are what? They are basically objects. I have already told you in previous class, you can see that video, that entities are basically, they are some objects. Okay, that is, you can say about some, if banking software, then bank, if for library management system, student, teacher, for anything. So these are the basic entities. So these entities are being shown here as external entity, as just a rectangular form. Okay. Now next is our process. What process is going to be done? What kind of processes we are discussing about here? Okay, as you can see here, railway reservation system. This is the reservation system. This is the process what is going to be in our particular information of the process. So this process has been shown by a circular shape. Only a circular shape, just a circle. In that circle you are going to write, here also in entity you are going to write here in the middle of the rectangle. Here also you are going to write in middle. That I have already shown here, that railway reservation system. This is my process, what I am going to do. Okay, so this thing is going to be inside this particular, see here you can see these are the processes, different processes. So here when you are going to describe about your process, that thing you are going to show inside a circle. This is your second symbol. Now third symbol, this is my output symbol. What is the output? What is going to be happening after I am giving the input, after the processing, what output I am going to get. That thing is shown by this kind of symbol. That is a rectangular with a broken edge like this. Okay, this is my rectangle and this is a edge, that is curved edge like this, or broken edge. This is the output. output symbol. Whenever you want to show any output, suppose you are telling about some RMS calculator, okay, so you have to show the input, the processing and the output. That output you will show with this particular symbol. Okay, this is my output symbol. Now the main symbol, that is the data flow symbol. As we see this is the arrow, which is a data flow symbol. You can see here also there are some arrows going from this side to that side to this side. These are arrows mainly show that this is the basic thing of our data flow diagram, that is the arrows. What kind of connection is there between a particular entity to a process, to an entity, from a process to an entity? What kind of connection is going on? So this thing is being shown by this particular arrows. Okay, this is the flow of the data. What kind of data is flowing from here to here, here to here. So that thing is we are going to show by an arrow. So this is our fourth symbol. And fifth symbol is data stored, that is data storage. Storage is being shown by this kind of thing, two parallel lines, and here in between you have to show what kind of storage is there. Suppose in railway reservation system, so what is the storage? Storage is the data, that is your data storage, what data you are going to store. So here in this case, suppose when I am talking about railway reservation system, so this is my reservation process. What kind of storage should I have? That is my reservation storage, the data, whatever. When you are doing a reservation, what you do? You just go on taking some tickets. So when you are going to reserve a train or you are going to reserve a seat, so at that time you have to give some data, and that data is basically whatever the data you are giving, that is being stored in a storage. So that storage is shown here as this symbol, that is two parallel lines, and you have to show there what kind of storage is that. So in any case, when you are working with a DFD, you have to show this storage system by two parallel lines. In between you can write what is the storage or inside. But this is the symbol of storage, data storage, whatever data you are going to store. Okay, now after all these all things, now we have to see that how we are going to construct a DFD. Okay, so this is what is my DFD here, that is my railway reservation system. So I have already told you that in railway reservation system what happens. We have to show two, I am showing here two kinds of DFD, that is my level 0 and level 1. So what happens in a railway reservation system? There are two parties, that is one is your passenger and second is your admin. When the passenger, what they do, they basically they can reserve a seat, they can cancel a seat, or they can inquiry. Okay, and the admin, they will respectively whatever the customer needs or the passenger needs, they will respond to that particular query. So this is my level 0 DFD for a railway reservation system. What is there? First of all, what we have seen, external entity. So here two entities are there. This is my passenger and this is my admin. These are the two basic entities of my railway reservation system. Okay. Now what is going on in a railway reservation? This is my process, that is railway reservation system. This is my process, this process. What process? The reservation system is going to be shown, how the railway is working. So this is my reservation system which I am showing here. This is my process here in this case. So now what is happening? Now I have to show the flow of my data. Whatever data is going to be flowing in between this. Okay. So here what is the data going on? Here we can see that is cancellation. First one is cancellation. So the passenger is doing any cancellation to this process. So this data is flowing. Since the passenger is doing this to this process, so he is just the arrow is going from passenger to reservation system. Okay, that is the data is flowing from this entity to the process of reservation. That is cancellation of ticket. Second is reservation of ticket. In case of reservation of ticket, again what is happening? The passenger is only doing that one. So the data is again flowing from the passenger to the reservation system. That is your process, entity to process. But when the thing is done, if some info is given, that is after you have reserved or after you have cancelled your ticket, what happens? Some information is given to you. That information is given by the process, that is it is processing, and that is you are getting from the reservation system. This is the information, that is the ticket information which is given to the passenger. So here we can see the arrowhead is from this process to the entity. Clear? So this is what is happening here, that is from the process to entity the arrowhead is coming, that is the data is flowing. Again in here what we are seeing, when the passengers is asking for any info, suppose reservation or cancellation whatever, so admin is giving the train information. So this train information is going from the admin to the process. That is the railway reservation system is having the whatever information that is given by the admin. The admin is giving the report that whatever the train info is, up down train whatever is coming, that information he is putting in the inside this railway reservation system. So this is my process. Obviously again from entity to process it is coming, the data is flowing. Next, where whatever reservation or cancellation, whatever data is being processed, that is the passenger is giving the data to the process, and now from this reservation system this particular data is being got by this admin. So the arrowhead is going there, and of course whenever whatever reservation and cancellation is there, of course the passenger info is also going from the process. The admin is getting these from the railway reservation system. So here we can see a small data about what is happening in my railway reservation system in the level 0 DFD, a particular basic idea. Then how the data is flowing from entity to process and from process to entity. But now what we have to show in the level 1, we have to just enlarge that one. Okay, we have to describe, make it more descriptive. So when we are making it more descriptive, in that case we will show the level 1 DFD. Again what thing, this is my passenger. Now I have to show how this is going on. So my passenger is here entity in this case. Okay, now what is happening, passenger is working on two particular processes. First process is reservation process and second one is enquiry process. Two things a passenger can do. What they can do, either they can have the reservation system done, that is they can either reserve a ticket, they can cancel a ticket. So he is working with the reservation system, that is a particular process. Second, he can work as a, he can ask for something, that is the enquiry. So that's it, that is also another process. Both are different processes here. So here you can see two arrowheads. One is going from the passenger to the reservation process. Again second one is coming to the enquiry process. Okay, now what is happening, when the passenger is asking for some enquiry in this case, so how this enquiry is being fulfilled? So obviously the data, what enquiry they will ask for, they are reserving their ticket, they are having their cancellation or whatever ticket they are reserving. So that data he is having with him, but he can ask about the up and down train details. So here two things are there. One is the down storage and one is the up storage. This is the sign of storage. Why down and up? This is for down train and this is for up train. So these are the storage which is happening here. Okay, that is shown here in down storage and up storage. Then, so this is the database, that is the storage of down train data and up train data. Again here what is happening, reservation process. The reservation process, they are what they are going to do, either they are reserving the ticket or they are cancelling the ticket. So this particular information is there in the reservation storage, that is another storage system. This database is containing the data about your reservation, that is here, the cancellation ticket and the reservation data, cancellation or reservation data, that is here in between this. So what we are seeing here, this particular thing is broken here into ticket info, it is another process, and reservation is another process. So we are breaking this thing again into some descriptive manner. As soon as you are going from one DFD to another, you will see some more information are being inculcated in that thing. Okay, that is you are going to make some more information you are going to give there. So here we are seeing that we are giving some more information here, like this we are breaking that into a subsystem. Again this thing is broken. Again what we are doing, we are generating a ticket. When reservation process, what you can do, either you can generate a ticket, that is you are reserving any seat, or you can cancellation whatever, and either you can report the admin. If some mistake is there, some error is coming, then you can report the admin. Okay, so this kind of thing, when we are breaking this DFD, particular zero level DFD, so we are getting this kind of figure. And if inquiry, then obviously inquiry will be given from this particular database. That is up and down. So this is my level 1 DFD. Again, if you want to break this DFD in some more descriptive manner, you can easily break. You can again make this, you can give the passenger, you can break this reservation process in ticket generating process, that you can also break in different levels. So this breaking of this level particular thing, that is in a, why we are using this DFD, it's very easy to understand. You can easily, from this pictorial view, you can easily understand. If any system, when you are talking about any system and you're giving that information of myself, this is my system, so and so input I am giving, so and so output I am getting, this is the processing, it is not clear. But when you are giving this kind of structural data or this kind of pictorial data, obviously the data is very much understandable, as well as it is very clear for the person who is going to understand your design. Then, and one more thing is what? It is a very structured manner. It is done in a hierarchical manner, and very structured manner is going to be done here. So it is very easy. Third thing is that whenever doing, okay, let's write those things. Okay, what are the advantages of this DFD? Why we are using this DFD? Okay, so then it will be very easy to understand, so that you can sort down also. Now let's see what are the different advantages of this DFD. Why we use this data flow diagram? So advantages. First one is easily understandable. Easily understandable. You can easily understand this by the pictorial data. Okay. Second one is what? Second is hierarchy form. So this is the hierarchy form. So it is very easy to show the level by level. You can show the data flow very easily. Okay, it is giving you the information of data flow, not only data flow, your input data, output data, as well as the data storage. You are getting every information from this DFD. You can see that every information is being given here. Okay, now also one thing is there, as we have already discussed, that this, what is happening here, high level function, okay, high level function is being again broken down, breaks into subsystems, so that it is very easily to work with. Here is the high level function, that is passenger and bin. Now we are breaking that one, that is, it has been broken down into different systems. Here only one process is there. Here how many processes? 4 processes are there. Again you can break that one. So what is happening here? High level function has been broken down into different subsystems, small subsystem. As we have already seen that in a divide and conquer procedure, we are going to do this designing. It will be very easy for us, so that if any fault comes, if any error comes, this is also advantage. That is, if for any error or fault, it is easy to find. You can easily find and correct, not or correct, and correct. Okay, that you can very easily find the error. If any kind of error is there in your DFD, so you can very easily find that error from this particular pictorial data. You can very easily find if some data is there, that is, if some error is there in your reservation process, then you can correct that data, you can correct that information. If anything is there, if how much, whenever you are going to just make this DFD, you are just processing level by level. So it will be very easy, the how much your level is going to be there, how much level you are going to break this DFD. Okay, that will be very easy. That much easy will be to find any error. Since you are making some subsystems, as we have already seen in cohesion coupling, what was there? When we are breaking the particular system into different subsystems, how much you are going to break that one, that much easy will be for you to just find the errors and correct it. And it will be very easy, since your whole system is not affected. This is my whole system. This is my whole system of DFD. Then, But what is happening here, I am working with this particular function, that is this is my railway reservation system. But if I want to correct anything, any error is coming, if I want to correct that one, the whole system will be affected at that time, at a particular time. But when I am breaking that one, if something is incorrect in this reservation process, I can easily correct that one, I can easily find. And again, if I am going to break that one, that will again be very easy for me to correct anything, correct the data. It will be very easier for me. So how much, that depends upon you, that how much you are going to break your DFD, how much, up to how much level you are going to get this DFD. Generally we work up to level 2 or level 1 or level 2, but maybe some more levels can be added there, so that you can have a more clear vision of your software, clear as well as more specific vision of your software. As much you are going to break your DFD, that certainty that the more and more implementation, more and more details are going to be implemented to your DFD. Since you are breaking the data, breaking the DFD, so obviously some more information, some basic, we are working with the basic information here, but you can see that here the basic information is been enlarged and you are giving some more info, some descriptive manner. Okay, so these things are going to be in your particular DFD, data flow diagram, and these are our advantages. That is easily understandable. I can easily understand the particular DFD. It is in a pictorial form, easily understandable. Second, hierarchy form, that is we are having some hierarchy, that is upper standard here, some passengers are there, some entity is there, some data flow is there. So it is in a hierarchical form, and data flow, input, output, data storage, everything is there. In a flowchart, what happens? Only the flow of data can be shown, but here everything is there. Your entity is there, your process is here, your data flow is here, your data storage is here. So everything you are getting inside a particular figure, right? And what happens? The high level function is being broken up into subsystems, basic subsystems. So up to you are breaking the subsystem, obviously you are getting more and more details of your system. Then, and what is happening here? If error and fault, they are occurring in case of any particular process, then you can easily find that error or fault and you can easily handle that one. Clear? So this is what is happening with our DFD, data flow diagram. Now next topic is about data dictionary. Okay, now let's see what is data dictionary. Data dictionary is basically what we know from dictionary, word dictionary, that is we are finding about some data, right? So today only we will discuss about some basic information, we will not go for further description. In next class we will describe that one. Okay, so what is data dictionary? It is basically data about data is being stored there. Okay, so let's see. Data dictionary. Basically what happens, data about data is given here, stored here. Okay, here what happens, list all the items that is appearing in your DFD. What items? Suppose what items are there? First one is our input data, output data, data flow, again data storage. So these things, so the list of these things are being in here. So DFD, list of things in DFD, that is list of components in DFD. Okay, whatever there is present in our DFD, that things we are going to list, sort down those things in our data dictionary. Then data items, that is how the data is, we are going to store the data, that is flow and storage. That data items which we are going to show the flow and storage, that is data items being stored. Okay, data items which are flowing in this, in DFD. Okay, that is data flow. That is your data flow. What data is going to flow? That is also included in this DFD. And the purpose of this is the things, that is the definition. What definition are there? Definition of your data. What is the definition of data? Let's have an example. Suppose only a singular data we are not working upon. Then, so what happens? Suppose I am having a gross pay. So in case of gross pay, what will be my, basically it is broken into two components. That is, mainly what happens in a gross pay, that is the regular pay and overtime. That is my regular pay, that is I am getting whatever pay, and my overtime pay. So this is what is there in my gross pay. So what you can see here, that this is not a particular data. Here it is a composition of two data, that is my regular pay and overtime pay. Then, so these particular components which we are going to use as a composite data, that thing, that data about this composite data, that is our composite data. Composite data. So data about this composite data is also going to be included in our data dictionary. When we are talking about data dictionary, I have already told you, that is data about your data. In dictionary, what we find? We are taking a particular word and we are getting the data about that word. But in data dictionary, what is happening? Data about your data. That is being included here. So here what we are finding here, that is composite data. That is, if I am having the gross pay, that is composition of two things. That is my regular pay and overtime pay. Got it? Then this regular pay and overtime pay, what is the connection between these? So these are being composing to get the gross pay. So this is not a singular data. This is a composite data. In this case, the data about that composite data is also being given in this data dictionary. So basically the data dictionary is having every data about your DFD. Every singular data, every minute data about your DFD, that is being included in this particular data dictionary. Then there are also some symbols which we use in data dictionary. So let's see what are the symbols. Basically these symbols are used when writing a data dictionary. Okay, we will see in next class how we are going to write the data dictionary. But in today's class, let's see what are the basic symbols used in this data dictionary. Symbols of DD, that is data dictionary. So first symbol is plus. Plus is composition or addition. So addition means when we are adding the data, suppose A plus B. So these are my two processes. If I am adding the data of this A and B, so that is, this sign will generate this, that is my, I am adding the data of A as well as B. So this is what is happening in this kind of sign is being used to show the addition or composition of two datas. Now second one is this one, that is two comma signs. This is what? Either A or B. So this is being shown like this, A or B. Either this one or that one. Then third one is this kind of bracket. If I write like this, A plus, suppose this B, A plus B, then here what is going to be there? That is either A or A plus B. Then either A, only singular A, or after bracket what is there, include the whole thing, A plus B. This has been shown by this particular bracket. This is our third symbol. Fourth symbol is what? Second bracket. What is this symbol generates? That is iteration. Iteration of data. How we will show this iteration? Suppose I am writing here some name. Okay, and I am writing here 5. Then what will happen? Obviously, this name will be generated 5 times. This is the thing that is iteration. This bracket is given for the particular thing which you want to iterate, and the basic number which you are going to, how much time you are going, how many times you are going to do that iteration, that is written outside the second bracket, that is 5. That means I am going to repeat my name, or I am going to repeat this name 5 times. That is name, 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 name 5 times. Okay, so this is case of iteration. Last one is one more, that is equals to. Equals to is for equivalence, that is A equals B, that is equivalence. To show the equivalence of two data, that is data of A and B, they are equivalent, you have to show by this sign, that is equals to, very basic sign. And the sixth sign, as we have seen in many programming languages including C, this one. This is a very known sign. What is this sign for? Comment. This is for comment. For any comment section you can give this sign. So these are the basic signs which we are going to use when we are going to make a data dictionary, right? What the data dictionary contains? It contains about all the list of all data, everything from A to Z, everything which is in your DFD, but in a manner, in a structured manner. As we have already discussed, everything here will be in a structured manner, so that why we are doing this, your designing phase is going to be the output for the implementation phase. Okay, the coding people who are going to code. So obviously you have to write it in a structured way. So these symbols we will be using in next class to show how the data dictionary is going to be generated, how we are going to write with the help of a DFD. First we will have a DFD. From that DFD we will generate a data dictionary. That we will do in our next class. Okay, till then, if you have any queries regarding this DFD in today's class, if you have any queries, any comments, anything, then you write to my comment section. I will give you the reply. And if you like my channel, then please give a like and subscribe the channel, so that we can discuss about more topics. Okay, till then, goodbye and take care.